Hi and welcome to the last stage of the Ruby Basics course of Rails Karate. In this stage we are going to talk about Ruby testing. Sometimes when we create our programs, they do not behave as we expect. This is called a bug. A way of avoid bugs in a program is through the testing. Minitesting is basically create another program that tests all the functionalities of another program. That way we can ensure that everything works as expected. In order to create these tests in Ruby, we have some libraries. In Rails Karate, we always use two libraries. One is called Minitest Spec and the other one is called Spec. Minitest is part of the Ruby core. We can create tests for our Ruby programs, and RSpec is a Ruby gem that will be helpful when we begin to create tests for our Ruby on Rails applications. So in this stage we are going to talk about Minitest Spec only. RSpec is going to be another topic of another course, so we will talk about it later. Let's start. We have created a folder and a file here in our workspace. The file is called example_test.rb. In order to start using Minitest Spec, we need to require two libraries. The first one is Minitest /autorun, and the second one is Minitest Spec. These are the two libraries that we need to require here. The first one will allows us for run the test in our console, and the second one is the one that contains. So Minitest Spec has all the tests we're going to use in our tests. Okay, now let's create our first test suite. Instead of create a class as we will do in any other program, we will create something called a describe block. So we just describe the name of the test suite. So I'm going to create test suite, and it has a block. That's it. Now we are going to create all our test cases, or our tests within the describe block. In order to create a test case, we're going to use this syntax. We say it, a string that is a name or describes that the test case is gonna do. So let's test that 2 plus 2 is equals 4. So say adds 2 plus 2. Yes, this is enough. So it also needs block in order to work, and within this we can now perform the operation and test the result. So we test 2 plus 2 must equal 4. Okay, as you can see, we have created a test here, and you can notice it is very clear and clean language. If you read it, you will see that you can read it very natural way. Now let's try to run our program, our test. We just run it as we will do with any other Ruby program. We say Ruby testing example_test.rb. Okay, we run the program. As you can see here, the report Ruby shows us some of useful information. It says the time it took for finish the test. It says 1 runs and 1 assertions. This means that we just run one test, that is this one, and this test passed. So in our first test we have used a must underscore equal method, but there are a lot of them. Let's take a look to the documentation of Minitest Spec. Let's search it in Google. Okay, here is Minitest Spec, and we have here the main documentation. But for take a look to the methods, we need to go to the Minitest expectations, and here you will find all the methods we can use. In this lesson we are going to show you just a few of them, so it would be great if you take a look to this and look at some other useful methods and tell us in the comments what you could find, and we'll be glad to hear from you. Well, now let's keep going and create more tests. We can, for example, say that an array must includes a dog, for example. Okay, so let's say we create an array, so we say dog, cat, elephant. So here we have an array of strings, and this must include dog. Okay, let's run this test. Okay, great. We can also verify if an object is instance of another class. So let's say it is instance of fixed num. Do and so let's say that 2 plus 2 must be instance of, then we type the class name fixed num. This is the integer class name for in Ruby. Let's run it and see if it happens. Alright, it just passed. Now let's say that we can check also if a variable or value is nil, so it must be nil. So a equals to nil, a that must be nil. So let's see if it passes, and it passed. Okay, we can also check, for example, let's do something different here. In the main documentation is the Minitest Spec documentation. We have this before block, so let me show you how it should be used here. So the before block is a block we create that the code within the block will be executed before any test, before all the tests. So let's say before do and here we can do anything we need for run the tests. In this case, I'm about to create a test for arrays. So instead of initialize an array in each test case, we can initialize it in the before block. So let's create an array variable. This is an empty array, so we can use this variable on all of our tests without to have to instantiate a new array in each test. Well, okay, so let's check if let's say that if we call a method that is not a method for arrays, if we call a method that does not exist from the array, it raises an error. So must raise an error. Okay, so if we take a look, oh, I forgot the do here. Do. If we take a look to the documentation, we go to expectations. We take a look. There is a method that checks rise. Okay, must rise. This is a method that we're gonna use, and it says how we should use it. So it says it needs a proc, and then the must rise and the exception we are expecting. So let's say proc. So let's say array that whatever. So this method is not a method of arrays for arrays. It does not exist. So this must rise and now method error. Oops. Method error exception. Okay, so this array is the array we created here. So if we do not use the before block, we have to say array, but this is repeatable and we don't need to do this. We can use the before block. It's a cleaner code. So let's see if this runs correctly. This should pass. Okay, and it says, oh, it says local variable array not found. Oh, okay, yes, I know why. We need this, must be an instance variable here. Okay, now we should get no method error exception, and we got it. Great. Now let's see if we can test that the array must be empty at the beginning. Must be empty. Do. Let's see what method helps us to this. Empty. Must be empty. This is the method we need. So we call the collection and the method, and that will do all the job. So array that must be empty. So this should pass. This should pass because the array is empty. So let's see. And it passed. Great. So this is the way we create tests. This is a very similar syntax that we will use when we start making test-driven development with Ruby on Rails. But so far it's good to know how to write these tests and how is the syntax and get familiarized with this. Now be creative and create some other tests and whatever you want. Let us know in the comments if you have doubts or just want to say hello. Would be nice. If you liked this video, don't forget to click the like button below this video. As always, follow me on Twitter and Bastionlandia. Follow us as RaceKarate on Twitter and Facebook, and take a look to racekarate.com where you will find the transcript of this video and all the videos we have made so far. Of course, thanks for subscribing to our channel. See you next lesson.